panel today. I would like to call upon, now as I keep saying the name, please come on the panel. So we have Mr. Rajeev Mehta, Senior President and Chief of Logistic Officer, Ultratech Cement. Satendra Pathak, Product Head Warehousing, Adani Logistics. Tapaswi, PBN, GM, EXIM and Commercials, Arvind Limited. Mr. Piyush Agarwal, Head of Supply Chain, Pepperfry. Last but not the least, our moderator for the panel is S. Balaji, Associate Executive Director, Industrial and Logistics Services, CBRE. So everyone's ready? I have no clue about warehouse and plant strategies, so I'm gonna try and pay attention. So Mr. S. Balaji, let's go.
Thank you. So, good afternoon everyone. Great. It's a pleasure to be part of this Warehouse and Supply Chain Leadership Award 2022. Over the last 2 years, people and businesses have become resilient, and with respect to the changing environment and adapting to new ways of work, right? So is the business what we have seen. The trends around the industrial and logistics sector So the trends around the realistic sector, I'll briefly touch upon, and then I will allow the panelists to share their views and thoughts. With respect to the industrial and logistics sector, investments in India reached a historic peak in 2021, which was 1.3 million USD, which are predominantly led by greenfield and brownfield developments. The investment grade stock, what we call, which is transactable by the PE players, that rose to a substantial number, and so was the rental. Rental growth was also seen across these platforms, and these were predominantly because it were investment grade, it was also tech enhanced, and strategic. With respect to some key highlights about what we anticipate to see growth in the warehouse absorption would be continuous upgradation and expansion opportunities for Tier 1 cities, and obviously new market penetration into Tier 2 cities, and extending local distribution and networks among the emerging logistics hubs. With this brief background of how the warehousing operations are evolving, I will probably take this opportunity to start the panel discussion with Mr. Rajeev, and would like to check your opinion on the strategies which companies are taking in today with respect to supply chain resilience.
I think the first most important word which was used was strategy for warehousing. So I think most of the companies, this part is missing. They are just engaged as per need of the organization, and most of the organization, I find there is no long-term strategy for the warehousing. But in last couple of years or 3 years, I'm finding a distinct change. That when we discuss the business strategy, warehousing comes as an integral part of the overall strategy of the business, because end of the day you are looking towards the final reach to the customer. So I think one correction in Indian corporates which is badly needed is that you cannot have a separate business strategy delinking it from the distribution strategy. So it becomes an integral part of the strategy. Second thing is, it's not about the looking within the organization. The second important part is the advocacy with the government. that what type of facilities are required for the new generation warehouses. We cannot talk about the private warehouses. We have to take into account warehouses alongside railway good shapes, central warehousing corporation policies, warehouses at the ports. So it is not only in terms of the warehouses itself, it is in terms of the land licensing policies of the government towards warehousing. So what type of policy advocacy is needed? Because you will find recently, all of you must have seen this Gati Shakti. In Gati Shakti policies, railway land can be leased only for a period of 5 years. Now, if you have to invest in a modern warehouse, maybe investment of 30 crores, 50 crores, 100 crores, it can be any amount. Will you invest for 5 years? Who will be investing for 5 years? So I think when we talk about the word strategy, I think government should also become a very important player in the whole thing. And we should try to influence government policies through industry advocacy. That all policies should have minimum 20 to 30 year perspective to become successful and invite private investment in the advanced and modern warehousing. So that is one part of the strategy.
Thank you, sir. I think briefly you touched upon on the policy side of it, but what I also think, and we had some engaging conversations in the previous session about implementation of technologies like AI, blockchain, big data, IoT, all of that. I think that would also give a good enabler to the overall resilience which is expected around the warehousing and logistic development.
And people. I think we usually talk about the technology, but we forget about the people who are going to run those technologies.
Absolutely. That's
so
the
I
base
think
of
they become equally important part of the whole process.
True. So with that thought, I'll probably request Satendra to step in. I know you were dual hat, one as on the operation side, but you also have the development arm within your company. So I would like to take your opinion in terms of with the increasing number of plant spaces and logistics parks, what we see today, or probably in the last 5-7 years. Do you see a shift from consumers and occupiers to movement from a standalone facility to a integrated logistics parks, all of that?
Hello. Yeah. So it's a good question. While selecting warehouse, we thought, going into standalone facility, standalone warehouse versus warehouse within logistics park. Which one is better? Where we should go? In today's scenarios, it's very important to finalize warehouse as per the need of the business. But same time, we should also consider, for longer term, for future terms, what kind of benefit we can get out of standalone warehouse versus warehouse within logistics park. I'll give you some major different kind of difference between these two kind of benefits and pro cons, you can say, within both kind of warehouses. So when we'll go in the logistics park, so probably you will see organized warehouses, very planned facilities, traffic movement within the logistic park would be very seamless. Developers are planning a warehouse in that way so that traffic movement can be eased out. You will see the grade A facilities where the height of the warehouse is very good, plinth structure is good, floor strength is very good. So this is all grade A facilities where you can utilize vertical height of the warehouse. Same time, because there would be some ecosystem within logistics park, we are having multiple warehouses, multiple boxes. So you would see a complete ecosystem of warehouses within logistics park. So you can get the benefit of ecosystem, benefit of grade A warehouses, good heights and all. Third thing is you will see because there would be a dedicated facility management team. So you would see amenities, whatever amenities you have within that logistics park on the better rate, because ultimately whenever we have the facility, you have to go with the security system. So tighter security would be there. So these kind of benefits you will get out of this logistics park. Comparing it with the standalone facilities, there are other benefits you can say. In logistics park versus standalone, you will see one of the most important part is rentals. In logistics park, you would find a bit higher, or in comparison, a bit higher rentals, whereas in standalone facilities, you can negotiate in better way. I mean, the rental would be on cheaper side in comparison with logistics park. Here you can plan your own policies for the vehicle movement and all, because in logistics park, ultimately one company is driving that whole system. So you have to abide with the logistic park policies. Here you can drive, you can manage, you can design your policies as per your requirement. Customization is possible in standalone facilities. You will see customization also. If you want very customized warehouse, what I have seen in the logistics park, developer plan these logistics park as for the future perspective for the standard kind of requirement. Wherever you want customization, you can choose kind of standalone facilities. So these are kind of benefits we can get out of standalone facilities. Yes, there are also kind of cons in independent or standalone warehouses. Like you will see the securities there, that side in the logistics park is better than here. You have to plan everything. You would have very minimum, kind of white collar staff with, I mean, limited security. So the nuisance, you can say that the labor management is very tough in that areas. You have to be very cautious in terms of managing manpower, managing, outside nuisance if there is any. So these are kind of cons as well. And another thing is, I was thinking one of the important thing, I forget that in mind, I was thinking to tell you. I'll talk about later, which maybe is not coming in my mind as of now.
Yeah, I would like to add what Satendra just said. So I guess the choice is really, from my perspective, it is that how much you want to get involved in managing the warehouse, in managing the facilities. So the choice to move to a park or to a standalone facility is where in a park, the developer will be managing a lot of things. In a standalone facility, you will be managing the entire infrastructure. Then the choice again comes that whether you want a 3PL to run the warehouse or you want to run the warehouse yourself. So for me, in Pepperfry at least, we have thought a lot about that, and we have like how much we want to get involved in the warehouse operations. The benefits and like the pros and cons are there. If you get involved a lot in the operations, you have good amount of control on your operations. Things are less dependent on the external world. But yeah, definitely you require that kind of people who can manage all these aspects of the warehousing.
The thing I was talking about, which is most important, that is the manpower management. So in the logistics park, what I have realized, because I'm managing that operations as well, especially in the peak time, whenever you'll have, especially in the e-commerce scenario, if you have warehouse within the logistics park, you will face manpower problem, because in peak time, manpower would be required 2x or I mean more than that. So because the warehouses are nearby in that premise, there would be a competition like with other players as well. So that is the cons I would say in the logistics park. If you are planning a fulfillment center, e-commerce warehouse, then we have to be very cautious in terms of planning the manpower, because that point of time you will face this problem. So that is the manpower crunch I have seen in the logistic park, whereas in the standalone facilities you can plan in better way, because near about you will not see that much of competition, that is closed premise, and you can manage that. So that is the part I was talking about. Thank you.
I would say an interesting and different perspective. From the world I come from, which is CBRE, where we kind of help clients and developers to do development. We have always seen that logistics parks has its own advantage. Yes, it has its own limitation as well. But it has its own advantage in terms of not focusing on what is not required. Sir was mentioning in a brief conversation, work with your core competencies, right? Core competency. So I think leaving that thought, I have few statistics if the audience would be engaged. This would definitely speak volume of what I am referring to. Um, the industrial and logistics sector found a sharp recovery from in 2021 from the previous years. What I meant about sharp recovery is the total absorption was about 28 million square feet. These are investment grade facilities, right? Or in the common parlance, which we speak as grade A development, right? The growth percentage per se was 39% year on year. We are expecting this absorption to increase by about 30 plus million square feet in 2022. What it means is there are more number of organized developers we are hitting the market. There are enough number of facilities which are available for clients like you all, and obviously management comes into the supply chain functions. So you will see more investments coming into these kind of facilities. With that thought, I think without wasting too much time, I'll probably move to the next session. And my question would be to Piyush. Piyush, you handle a different set of business, which is furniture in nature. So what are the typical types of warehouse do you look for, and how important are, say for instance, a high ceiling or an automated stacking, all of that? So if you can just throw light around it, I think it'll be helpful for the audience.
Yeah. So I would say all these are very important for us. So I will maybe proceed with an example. So we have recently opened up our new warehouse in Gurgaon, which is around 1.5 lakh square feet, and it's a grade A facility in all the terms. So the ceiling height is like 15 meters. The flooring is FM2 flooring. We have like one dock every 10,000 square feet. So all those things which would qualify the facility to be a grade A facility is present. So I guess from a thought perspective, we are very much clear that any facility which we start now or any facility which we transition has to be a grade A facility, and I guess there are multiple benefits to it. One thing is that definitely the cost is a little on a higher side, but the benefits are plenty. You get a better efficiency out of people. You get better quality work done in a grade A facility. So all those things are there, and from a strategy perspective, there is no second opinion. One more thing which we look for when we start a warehouse now. From the sustainability point of view, things are really changing. So a warehouse should have rainwater harvesting. A warehouse should have a big compound. The employee-friendly warehouse should be there. It should have insulations. All those things have become very important. I guess earlier the warehouse used to mean that we need to store the goods, we need to take inwards and do the dispatches. Now I believe with e-commerce increasing, warehouses have taken a very lead role in how we will service our customers, and we don't want to compromise in any aspect on that, and hence the warehousing has moved ahead in a big way. So it's all like all the aspects of grade A facility need to be accommodated in any new facility in which we have.
Yeah, thanks. In my own experience, I think in 2017-19, a typical warehouse used to be in the range of say 29 feet to 33 feet. Today, the modern day warehouses today, what we see are anywhere upwards of 37 feet up to about 42 feet, right? This specific increment in height definitely gives advantage to vertical storage. This also gives better efficiency for the warehouse to manage. I would call them, I don't know if it's the right word, but these are next gen warehouses, which will help consumers in the better efficient planning. I don't know if warehousing will have this element of HVAC, but I think if such facilities are also there, one, it gives comfort to the people, which is an important element which Mr. Rajeev pointed out, and also the smooth functioning of the manufacturing facilities when it comes to managing those equipments. So with that thought, I will move into my next question, and I would address it to Tapaswi. With respect to the key functionalities required in the current day, how much of productivity and efficiency of supply chain warehouse operations are looked upon?
Hello. Yeah. So, as people spoke about, I mean, the panelists spoke that warehousing requires automated systems, and it depends on industry to industry. Like, it is not that everyone is looking at warehousing, world-class warehouses, so we all have to go for world-class warehouses. It's not that way. So, for example, we are talking about logistics parks. Now, in logistics parks, ASRS is the future, actually speaking. We can have a logistics park, and we can have number of warehouses there with number of manpower. But again, as they pointed out, in case there is a disturbance, in case there is month-end skew, how are we going to tackle with those month-end skews? So what in my previous organization, in Henkel also, what we implemented and they're taking care of now, Purushottam is also doing it. So we went for ASRS. We were implementing ASRS, and that is the need of the hour now in warehousing. Because yes, in India, the labor rate is very cheap, even now if you compare with the size of investment you're getting in. But in ASRS warehouse, if you go for cladding, and if you build a warehouse, you can go up to 120 feet also. Sky is the limit. So if you're going for 120 feet and if you're building a warehouse, then in these cases, the number of manpower required to operate are very less. These warehouses can be operated with 3 or 4 manpower. Rest of it is taken care by robotics. You just give an input, which is the barcode, which is the SKU you need. The crane goes and retrieves the material. So more of dependency on labor goes down in such systems. But the only thing is, what's the mindset of the corporate? I mean, are they really willing to take that challenge? Go to the next mile and see that, okay, in 10 years, yes, definitely a driver's son is definitely not going to go for driving. He wants to study and he wants to become an officer or he wants to become a manager. Same with the tailor's son or whoever is the warehouse manager or the labor. Everyone is studying and they want to be in good positions. So maybe, if not now, maybe in 10 years, we'll be there. By the time, after 10 years, when we want to go for this, it might be too expensive. So are we ready for the next thing? So in ASRS warehouse, because dependency on labor, and even in times of Corona, where we face shortages, so all those can be addressed. And efficiency and throughput is excellent in these warehouses. So if these service providers, logistics parks, instead of just building warehouses for the outside world, if they think of ASRS and develop these warehouses, see what happens in India is the mindset. What these players think is that, okay, when people ask, we'll develop it. Well, earlier there were godowns. Now we have warehouses. Now we have distribution centers. From godowns, we moved to racking. So racking, when the customer asked, yes, they have implemented racking. And now people are giving warehouses with racking. So why not give warehouses with ASRS itself? People will definitely come to you, but it will take time. It's not that they're not going to come. They'll see the value of it and they'll come, but you'll have to decide on that. Because you'll save at least 50% of the land cost when you go for ASRS. These are the predictive systems which you have. Then you have robotic drone, the stock taking. Drones can go and take the stocks instead of you counting the stocks. So all these systems are there, which will definitely improve the efficiency.
Insightful, Tapaswi. I think there is a lot to learn from the Western world, but what we are seeing being implemented is definitely phenomenal, I would say. With that, I'll probably, Satendra, take your inputs from a developer standpoint or from an operator standpoint. How are this AI, whatever we call it, or the robotics are transforming the warehouse operations from a developer standpoint?
Yeah, Balaji, this is good question. We are witnessing this thing. As of now, since we are the developer for grade A warehouses, we are developing multiple sites across India. So what I have seen, the customer are asking these grade A warehouses. It's not only grade A. We will call, as you said, next gen warehouses. This is not only like when you will call grade A's, height, and so there are many things to do. If companies like Amazon, Flipkart, they are planning automations. So they are asking those kind of specification where we can implement these kind of robotics, ASRS, and these kind of things. So it is, we are witnessing this kind of AI robotics in the warehousing field. personally, if you'll ask me, personally, I have implemented many productivity increasing or kind of, these kind of robotics. Like I'll give you some examples, real practical examples which we have implemented. So you will see the sortation system in the e-commerce scenario. When we deliver the parcels at the main distribution center, we are implementing sortation system. So to cater the, to sort the parcels across the city, across the routes, we have a sortation system where you just have to scan the parcel and just put it on the conveyor. There would be some arms, this will sort out as per the city and routes, and then it will be done. So you can see the change. I mean, for this particular task, we used to have, huge manpower. For a sortation system for 30 arms, we were having that point of time 120, 50 manpower. And as of now, it is kind of hardly 30 people working on the that sortation system. So it is not reducing the manpower cost, but also it is giving the accuracy in the system, scalability, as Tapaswi said. Due to the COVID, we have seen the manpower crunch. So at this point of time, how you can manage, how you can scale up the operation. So these are the options where we can think of, we should implement in the system. Yes, always this would be the comparison between the cost. It's not only the cost, but also the accuracy in the system, how we can scale up, multiple things will come. But yes, slowly, gradually, it is getting implemented in the operations. These are the few examples, like sortation system, pick and put to light system. Again, this is kind of a sortation system itself. Conveyor system to move out the cargo within the warehouse. If it is the big warehouse, then to move the cargo, there are conveyor system. Packing stations, like rather than doing manually packing the parcels, there are packing machines are coming, automated packing machines. Automated guided vehicles in the big logistics park, we have seen. We are also thinking for automated guided vehicle in place of ITV, the manually run ITV, rather than having this then automated guided vehicles we are trying to implement in the parks. So these are the kind of automations and robotic kind of things happening in the warehousing and plants area.
I would like to add one thing to this. See, have you seen Decathlon? So if you go to Decathlon and you shop, there's one bin wherein you put all your clothes which you have selected, shopped for. You put in the bin and it automatically scans. You don't have to take a barcode scanner, scan each and every cloth and then shop for it. Just imagine this being implemented in a warehouse, where traditional or automated. Just imagine you have that RFID gate wherein you have a checker, you have a picker, you have a checker, you have a supervisor who does all this work. Just imagine you have an RFID gate wherein when the material passes through the gate into the truck, just before loading into the truck, then you can eliminate all these, supervisory levels. So that is what we have to think about in future.
No, excellent. Piyush, again, around the same question, because everybody is moving towards the technological advancement. How is it implemented in the user side, and how is it impacting the supply chain network?
Yeah, so I would say that as everyone discussed, a lot of technology is available at our disposal right now. We have IoT, we have blockchain, we have automated guided vehicles, we have ASRS. So my opinion on that will be that we definitely have to pick and choose. We as a company, we need not do everything, okay? Because everything comes at a cost also, and particularly you will have to look at the problem side of it. That what is the problem you are trying to solve? If quality control is the problem you are trying to solve, then you might bring some different technology in place. And if cost is the problem you want to solve, then there might be a different technology solution available. So there are different technologies available with different solutions. So every technology is not going to suit every industry. So we should definitely select whatever is suiting our industry and our problem statement. And definitely it's going to be a game changer from a perspective that when you bring in technology, you're going to solve a big problem which is linked to your industry. But the cost element will always be there. So that need to be always taken into account when implementing any technology.
From service side, what kind of challenges we are facing while implementing all these robotics and automations? Yes, you are rightly said, every solution will not work for every kind of business. The challenge is what we are feeling, because we are into service side. Companies are thinking for next 3 years, 5 years maximum, giving contract for shorter terms. So while thinking for these kind of technology, it requires longer term contracts. So when you'll go into the market, where somebody is giving 3-year contracts, and the life of the product is for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, then it becomes challenge, because it's not the standard product. So another company will come and will use that. It's the customized solutions. So that is the problem is coming to the service side as well. We cannot plan any automation until unless customer is ready for the longer term. So that is again a big challenge.
As the discussion was going on ASRS, so I guess ASRS definitely requires a 10 to 15 years kind of commitment. Then only it will make sense to invest that much amount of capital in ASRS. If you are thinking of a 2-year, 3-year kind of solution, then definitely that investment of 10 crore, 20 crore, 30 crore is not going to, is not a very good decision.
Sure, some real interesting insights. But from a CBRE standpoint, only offering real estate solutions, what I could think of is, with the abundance of supply chain data, I think what we could do definitely is a predictive analysis of what's being planned, what's being happening. Combine that with the various technological terms like machine learning, algorithms, and AI, and then use some predictive insights on capacity planning, network optimization, and streamline operations. I think this would definitely help us in the overall scheme of things. I'll probably move to the next aspect, which is a pain point. Tapaswi, I'll probably take your insights. What are some of the challenges faced from a supply chain standpoint from your end?
Yeah, see, if I have to say currently, visibility is the major challenge. So we are talking about warehousing, we are talking about transportation. So in case if we don't have visibility, that is simple, that is demand planning and supply planning. If they are not set right, then you end up having 20 warehouses and 30 warehouses, and you'll have world-class facilities. But what's the point if you don't have your house right? I mean, the back end should be so strong. I can see, I mean, in 2008 itself, Ultratech, 2005, they implemented I2Serve, which told that, okay, the customer requests, only then we'll send. So that kind of, this envisaged in that way. So that is what still has to come in the industry, which I haven't seen still. So if that kind of integration happens between your demand planning, supply planning, and then warehousing, so that will lead to optimization. Currently the pain points are this visibility is not there, and all these systems are disintegrated. That's the reason still we have these problems. And second is, if you ask me, my supply chain, currently what we face in Arvind, if you have to ask me, for me, the major supply challenges to Bangladesh. We export a lot of material to Bangladesh. It's not the problem which we created, but somehow it is created over there. The trucks stand for almost 40 days at the border, 35 to 40 days at the border, surprising. So the transporters, the drivers are making money, the administration or whoever, but we are not able to still solve that problem. Well, in March, we tried to solve it, by going through the river route to Bangladesh. Because the sea freights went up drastically, so we took the river route and sent some shipments. In that way, we could, sustain, and we could at least deliver to the customers. But the thing is, this challenge still remains, so it is the engagement of both the governments who have to take this up, and the local state government. So these challenges are still there.
Thanks. Thanks for those insights, and I think it's pretty disturbing to understand that one has to wait for about 35 to 40 days at the border. Yep. Conscious of time, I've already got a notice from the organizers. I'll probably move to Mr. Rajeev. I had some questions for you, but I'll try to pick it up if time permits. So what is the future trend of warehousing and plants in India, sir? And how do you foresee that substituting the overall issues what we are currently seeing?
Yeah, two, three things, as I said in the beginning, that it will become an integral part of the overall strategy. That will be the first thing. Second is, how many of you believe that warehousing is a cost center? So I think majority, I hear it's a cost center. So I think in future, this approach is going to change completely. Warehouses will be treated as profit center. Your methodology of calculating will completely change, that warehouse rent is your cost and additional sale which is happening because of the warehouses is your contribution. So contribution minus cost is your profit. So I think the approach towards warehouses has to change completely. Only then you will be able to go for long-term contracting, quality warehouses. We were listening a lot about technology. We were listening a lot about people development. All these things will be dependent on the long-term contracting, and how we perceive warehouses, it will be an extended arm of your manufacturing process. So that will be the future of the warehouses.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. Again, with the same thought, I would like to understand, and probably on behalf of the panel, I would also like to take your expert opinion on the outsourcing of warehouse functions, which I think many of us have pondered in our mind.
You know, the first belief is a manufacturing company should realize that they are good in manufacturing. And let warehousing be left to the people who know the business better than you. So I have strong belief that this activity should be 100% outsourced as per your specification with long-term contracting. That's the simplistic explanation I can make.
So as a e-commerce company, I would like to add here that we don't have manufacturing, so to say. So for us, it is warehousing and the distribution centers, which is our core competency in a way. We believe in managing warehousing and the distribution centers and the last mile distribution on our own, because that we believe is our core competency when it comes to a company. So yeah, so that's a little bit of difference between a manufacturing company and the e-commerce company. Yeah.
But eventually, you know, the long-term part and customization, because customization can happen only when you go for long-term contracting.
So we are all in for long-term commitments.
Yeah, that will be the key for development of the warehouses.
I'll add to this question, outsourcing versus managing in-house operations. Piyush rightly said, I mean, e-commerce companies are managing their fulfillment center by their own. But why they are managing? Because I have headed this e-commerce operation. I was the head of warehousing in Jabong.com. If you heard, now it's a part of Flipkart. We were tried that point of time how we can outsource this. Sir is rightly said, if there is option, you should think of. But that point of time, what we were realizing, the lacking of competencies with the 3PL players. Because this was new in the system, they were also learning from the market how to operate. So who were the expert that point of time? E-commerce companies, because they were managing their fulfillment centers. If you will call any 3PL player, first they will learn, they will do some mistakes, and then they will go further. But in today's scenario, when you will look at, there are e-commerce players who are managing e-commerce fulfillment center in service side. So companies are thinking to outsource. It's a matter of how you want to control your quality or productivity, or I mean productivity is with can be given to the service provider, but companies are still considering the warehouse function in the within the own company because of the quality issues, because it's a direct relation with the customer. But still this field is also going towards 3PL operations. I would say this change is coming now.
I guess in the end, it is all about whatever works.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So while I have many other questions for this panelist, conscious of time, I'll probably quickly summarize some of the key aspects when it comes to industrial and logistics play. As I told you in the beginning, we are talking about a 30 million square feet of development space, which is expected to be completed by 2022, which is a good jump, of about 12% on an annual basis. These specialized developers, be it national or international developers, who are focused on international quality development or next-gen spaces, are going to look at facilities which are strategically located. These are going to be more and more coming in. With the advent of ILS sector being a heaven for investors, I see more number of investment grade supply which is going to hit the market. On the development, on the manufacturing side, I think PLI was a great initiative by the government, while some might say that we might have to see the end of the light in terms of how it performs, but it is definitely bringing in more new spaces for the market to penetrate. And I think one final word which all corporates today speak of is the ESG, environmental, social, and governance aspect. I think that will come as a major factor before anybody could put a square feet ahead of their development plan. With this thought, I'll probably close this session. If there are any specific questions to the audience, I'll probably allow them to take it. If there are?
First of all, thank you so much for making this, dry subject so interesting, because warehouse is, normally considered as, the hard topic. My question is specific to Piyush. You have the furniture as your SKUs, and which are, all non-standard sizes. And in warehousing, one of the KPI is the storage space utilization. So what type of stacking you are using and what type of MHEs you are using to maximize the efficiency?
Yeah, I guess the one thing which Pepperfry did when they entered the segment, and I have only heard the stories, not been a part of it. It happened before I joined, long before I joined. I think they say that they have only put one manufacturing plant, Pepperfry as a company, that was of boxes, because furniture was not coming in boxes. So they want the furniture to come in boxes. So that was the only one plant which they put, and now they have closed it definitely. But all the furniture is now coming in boxes, at least for us. All the merchants, all the players are aligned that they have to send the furniture in boxes. And then the storage becomes easy from one perspective. Like definitely these are big boxes. So we call ourselves a big box logistics company. But it's not that we have to handle a chair and the MHE cannot handle it. If it comes in boxes, so our storage is pretty standard as any other FMCG company. It is all boxes stored on pallets, pallets stored on racks. So it's like G+A tracking, and the pallets are stored on racks. We use big pallets, like double the size of the normal pallet, which is 2.2 meter into 1.2 meter. So we use big pallets, so that these are customized pallets, but yeah, the storage is pretty standard. We use the 10 meter height reach trucks and all those to access the racks.
I can see another question already ready. Yeah, please go ahead, shoot it.
Hello. Yeah, first of all, thanks for nice discussion. My, maybe you can say, experience is not very good on 3PL, because I dealt with 3-4 top, I would say, 3PL service provider. And initially when they come, they give a lot of hopes. Okay, we are going to do this, that. And once, after 1 year, when you see, they'll come up again with the price increase. This is what is, and they'll leave it to those 2 people, 3 people who are supervisors and all. So continuously you have to get engaged, then only it will happen. It will not happen through auto mode. This is what my experience. So if at all you want to outsource, you outsource. It's a good, even I always believe it has to be, because our core competency is not doing warehousing. It's obviously like we are doing manufacturing. So our core competency is manufacturing. But if you are, as he said, long-term commitment, maybe then they have also get involved with us, and they have to also commit with us, okay, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years contract or something with so much escalation, whatever. So they also, but you need to continuously follow up. You need to continuously review with them. Then only it will happen. I do not know whether, because recently now again, I am going to Delhi to discontinue this and we are going to take it. That is why I am sharing this. Because we really, when I saw that warehouse, the way they have managed, opposite side there was a warehouse, same company, very well managed, and this total, I would say a lot of other customer, and it was in a very pathetic condition. So that's all my view on this.
I would like to speak on that. See, as you rightly said, in one of my previous organizations, we had outsourced. We had both ways, you know. There was a 3PL who was managing it horribly, okay. There is a warehouse there is a 3PL who's managing very well, because in that organization we had time-bound deliveries to supply to Maruti's, Ford, Hyundai, Honda. So all these deliveries were time-bound, and if we don't supply in time, just in time, then we'll get huge fines. The customer would, you know, debit us for line stoppage. So in these cases also they have managed very well. So one is, yes, our KRAs or our KPIs should be their KPIs, that's one thing. And the other person who's on the other side should be very receptive. So only then it's possible. Like again, the manpower who's there, who's handling it, who's managing it, if they're very good, I mean, yes, you can achieve it. So it's both ways you have.
I want to add in this question. Since I have managed in both sides, I have seen 3PL companies, I mean, given the operation and they messed up. What I have realized, what can be done with these companies and how we can, you know, make sure our operation will be in that mode, what we want. So at the time of contracting, so the expectation should be very clear. What I have seen, people discuss, this is the process and what costing you will offer. So they will give some costing and you will negotiate costing. And they will also give that costing. So this happens at the end of the day, what their intention is, how we can run that operation within that costing, how we can get benefit out of that operation. And due to this, they will mess up the operation. They will not depute sufficient manpower. They will not keep sufficient manpower to manage all the functions. What I have done, I have also outsourced warehouses in my life. But what I have done, at the time of contracting, I have discussed each and every function in detail. This is the inbound operation, this is the outbound operation, this is the inventory storage operation. How much manpower do you think you would require? What would be the productivity? Even though it is the job of the 3PL, but you should know in deep, so that at the time of contracting, you should fix all these parameters. On top of cost, you can add margins, and basis that contract note, you can ask that supplier or the 3PL company to depute that much of manpower to maintain those KPIs what were discussed. In that way, I think when you will tighten the 3PL, they will run in that way only, which I have realized. This is my input.
One way I can just share the observation that this is there is some way in between. You know, I've seen the company which employ the operations head of the warehouse on their payroll, which knows their requirements, but execution is to the resources of the 3PL.
So I think we are already overshot by 7 or 10 minutes. So with this, I'll conclude this session, and I would like to thank the panelists and the esteemed audience here, sitting here. A big thank you. And looking forward a successful 2022. And I would also like to thank the organizers. A big thanks. Thanks.
Wow, thank you so much for increasing my knowledge on warehouse, because before this, the only warehouse I knew was the video game PUBG warehouse. Anyways, please stay on stage, because we would like to felicitate you all. So I would like to call upon Mr. Ram Chaudhary, Managing Director, ANOVA Warehouse Technologies, to please felicitate our guests.